welcome back to Go Call Your Sister. We're so excited to be back with you guys, and we are even more excited to be back with one of our very favorite and highly requested guests, our mom, KB.
Hi, I thought Dad was your most requested too. Am I the number one and he's number two?
I mean, I think you guys are equally highly requested. I
Yeah,
don't want to say who's requested more.
there's no numerical order, but in the spirit of Mother's Day, which just happened, we wanted to have you on for a little chit chatty episode.
Oh, well, I'm honored. Thank you, girls. And I miss y'all already.
We tried to
We
make this happen while we were in Oxford, but had some technical difficulties per usual, but we made it happen.
It was not our
Hence
fault.
the reason.
It was not the Wi-Fi fault at our house.
Yeah, I think that Goldie got into the wire that was connected to my mic. So yeah, we made it happen, and hence the reason we're a little late this week.
Oh,
That's okay. We're doing our best.
I know.
We are doing our best.
Allie, I'm glad
We
you have
are doing our best.
gotten yourself together after dropping Goldie off.
I know. Speaking of Goldie, that was a rough one. Goldie got picked up for training camp yesterday, and I bawled my eyes out. She's gonna be gone for a month, and I miss her. Like, she's just like my little best friend. We're together all the time, like 24/7. I cannot even go to the bathroom without her being there. Like, it's weird.
But aren't you glad you've got a lot of free time now? So just enjoy it, embrace the different.
Mario and I were sitting outside last night because we got new patio furniture. So we were testing it out for dinner. And he was like, don't you just love just being the two of us and just hanging out with me? I'm like, no, I don't. I like Goldie.
You're bawling your eyes out, Allie, and Mario literally waved by and was like,
because he has not put in the blood, sweat, and tears that I have into this dog. Like, but it is funny because full transparency, did not want Goldie. Like, did not want her. It was the cause of a lot of strife in our relationship. And honestly, for the first 2 months, I was just kind of annoyed. But then something switched and we became just like besties. And I love her and I miss her.
bonded.
Yeah. I feel like that's just how it's going to be for me. Like, maybe even becoming an actual mother, like, I'm going to resist it and hate it and bitch about it and complain about it and probably not even like it, like, for a while. And then all of a sudden, one day I'll wake up and be obsessed with it.
It's actually really interesting because I feel like this is the first time I'm getting to see Allie's maternal side come out. I didn't even know if you honestly had that side to you, to be honest.
That's really ironic for you to say because I feel like I was very motherly as a child because I had no choice.
Okay, but I don't know how you were when I was an infant. I didn't get to I don't remember that. But seeing you with Goldie, it's so interesting because I thought it would be so reverse. I thought Mario would be the pushover dad, give her anything, and you'd be really strict, disciplinary, parent. And it's so literally the opposite. And now since seeing you with Goldie, I feel like I'm envisioning you as an actual mom, and it's different than I thought.
Oh yeah,
Allie
totally.
was very maternal as a child. I was telling Mario the story about Allie answering the door with a 6-pound baby Bridgers and totally in charge of telling everyone where the food went, holding the baby. My friends were like, Kristy, we're concerned. Allie's 7 and she's holding this tiny baby.
What did she tell you? What did she tell you when you had Win? She looked at you and she said,
yeah, I remember the one time I left your brother in his infant car seat on our front step in Winston-Salem because I was rushing out the door to take Allie to school. And I looked back at Allie and I said, Allie, where is Win? And she said, Mom, I'm only 7.
Yeah, so that took a lot of hours and money in therapy to work through. But no, all jokes aside, I do think that my motherly instinct came out super strong as a child and then it fizzled. And now maybe it's coming back. I don't know. But it is surprising because I too thought I would be the disciplinary parent. And I am not whatsoever. I'm she can do no wrong. She's perfect. I'm obsessed with her. And I feel like I might be that way with a kid. One of those moms that just thinks their kid is perfect.
Well, we wanted to record this episode on actual Mother's Day because we were all together in Oxford and we wanted to make it a Mother's Day episode, but we're just going to do that a little bit later. And I think your journey with Goldie and having to tell her bye and your maternal instincts defrosting.
It is interesting because your heart, like you feel like you're totally fine just like in life. And then you love something so much and your heart like expands. And I've always heard moms like use that language and talk about it. And now I kind of get it. Like I kind of understand. And I don't know, like I feel like motherhood, like all of a sudden I woke up one day and just like people that I went to high school and college with just decided to like have kids on purpose. And like that's a thing that we're doing now. And I just like didn't really get that. Like I just wasn't on board with that. But now like maybe I'm slowly inching closer to that way. I don't know.
Goldie is the beginning.
We'll see.
Yeah, and everyone's running their own race, but I still see when people post baby announcements, and my first thought is like, "Oh no." Like I forget that people are doing this on purpose. Like my first thought is like, "Oh no, like what are we going to do?" And then I realize like they actually tried to have a baby and they planned for this and they're excited about it. And that's just like because it's not where I am in my life and you weren't on that journey and on that wasn't part of your race at the time. But speaking of maternal journeys that Allie is now going through, Mom, you became a mother super young. And I like what was that like for you? When did you find out you were even pregnant with Allie? Like what was that day?
I was a sophomore at Ole Miss. I was 20 years old. And yeah, it was shocking. It was definitely not what I had seen my days at Ole Miss looking like, but still to this day, it's one of the greatest gifts I've been given. And it was such a blessing. But yeah, I was a little, wow, okay, I'm going to be a mom. And I mean, I know y'all can remember when you're in college, you're barely taking care of yourself. So
I'm just trying to get a grilled cheese at the C store when I'm hungover.
well, I was still going to late nights. And I was, I remember being on spring break with dad and some friends and I couldn't keep up on the bike and dad was like, "Come on, Kristy, what's going on?" I mean, 4 weeks later I was like, I was pregnant. No wonder I couldn't keep up with y'all on the bike. So yeah, it was a little
Did you
pivot.
like kids? Like before, were you like did you like kids? Because honestly, like to be real, I don't really like kids. Like I like my friends' kids and kids that like I have a connection to, but I'm not like the type of person that's like, "Oh my god, a baby." Like that's just not me.
I always loved children. I mean, still to this day, I always want to be the one holding the baby. So I did love kids. I grew up, I did babysit some and, yeah, so I did. I love children. I was getting my degree in elementary education. I knew I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. So I did have that desire of loving children in my heart.
I feel like I'm that way. Like I love kids and like even if I see a baby like on the sidewalk, I want to like go hold it and like love on it. But Mom, were you scared to tell your parents and dad's parents you were going to have a baby? Cuz I
Um,
feel like that's like the biggest like fear of at least people's like most people.
Yeah. And, I mean, I grew up where we didn't talk about hard things. We didn't talk about real things. Everything was put a smile on your face, act like everything is fine. So, yeah, it was a little unnerving. I was a sophomore, so I just met your dad's parents, my freshman year. So it's not like we had this long standing knowing each other and we're about to drive to Vicksburg, Mississippi, then to Meridian and tell our parents. And yeah, and you all know I'm really sick when I'm pregnant. So I was just feeling horrible. And, so yeah, it was a very unnerving time. And at that point of my journey, I really, really cared a lot about what people thought about me. And it was really hard, to open up and really be honest and tell people what was really going on. I felt really judged in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, I knew more than anything in this world that I wanted to marry your dad. And I knew that God was going to take care of us. So I just trusted and believed. And it was scary. We did it. We walked into both of our houses, told our parents, and got married a month later.
Wow.
Isn't it funny? Like, I don't know, it's just crazy how people have such different journeys and like different paths. Even, as close as we are as a family, like we're so similar in so many ways, but like my journey couldn't be any more different than yours. And like, it's always different for people. And so that's why I think that it's easy to get caught like comparing yourself to other people's timelines. And it's just never the way to go.
No, comparison always steals all the joy. All my friends were so excited. I remember all my friends like, oh my gosh, I wish I had a David. You were going to have the best life. We had such a, I don't know, just a strong community around us and our friends. And, everyone's path is different. And I look back on it and I wouldn't change a single thing. You either have kids on the front end or the back end. And, we made it and we have this amazing history together. And, we went through some hard times together. And that's why I'm always like, I just would never have another husband if dad were to, um, die before me. I'm a one husband person. There's no way I couldn't recreate all the history that I've made with your dad. And, if I said this over Mother's Day, if you don't do the hard together, the joy doesn't feel as sweet.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And I love you and dad's relationship too, because I feel like in my life, I've gotten so lucky to be able to watch that. And so when I'm dating people who I know like don't fit the standard that like you and dad have set, it's like I can't even rationalize it because I'm like I've gotten to see such a good example of it my whole life. And I can't like downgrade now that I've seen that.
Yeah. And, people always want to say, oh, y'all were trauma bonded because you got pregnant and then got married. And whatever bond it was, it worked for us, and I'm grateful for that. And, we did the hard together, and that's what makes our marriage. And, God knew we were going to have harder things to come. And so I'm just grateful for the foundation we've been able to build. And, it just is such a testament of just really, not giving in. Pick your hard, divorce or marriage, sober or an alcoholic, with kids, without kids, both are hard. And, everyone has a different journey. And I just think it's important that you just stay curious to what God has planned for you and don't judge other people or even judge yourself where you are.
People are having kids later now, like in general. And, the older I get, the more I realize like it really just kind of sucks for women. And it's not fair because like you do have to give away so much of yourself and your time and like, and having a kid and raising it and making that decision. And, you have to sacrifice a lot of the times in a way that men don't, like with career and maybe travel and all of these experiences in life. And it's kind of like frustrating when you really think about it.
It is. It's a double standard for sure. But, you know, I think about it. I got the gift, I got the gift of carrying you in my body, being with you as much as I possibly could. Allie was our daycare baby because I had to finish college. But I got all that time with y'all and it was beautiful, and to see your kids' eyes light up when they see their mom, you don't know people unless you spend time with them. And whether you work or not work, there's so much judgment around motherhood. And it's kind of like addiction. I hate that stigma. I hate the stigma of, motherhood. It has to be done this way or that way. Everyone has a different journey in that. Some moms work and your kids go to daycare, and you know what? That's okay. Get rid of the guilt. You are never going to do this job perfectly. No one is. And just, I think there needs to be a lot of grace for yourself and each other. And I don't know. I just feel like women need to support one another through whatever, whether you're 20 and have a kid or you're 45 and you're having your first, you need community, you need people, and you don't need that judgment. That, and that's why it's real important that you find your people just like you do in other walks of life. You need solid, good moms around you that are going to encourage you, because there are days that you feel like you are swimming upstream and you need another mom to encourage you for sure. So I just think that's really important, that whatever stage of life you're in, whenever that first baby comes, just to decide, I'm not going to guilt myself, and my kids aren't going to be my report card. A wise woman told me that in Winston-Salem, and she was like, Kristy, your kids will never be your report card. Kids like myself will mess up. They will make mistakes. We have the beautiful gift of beginning again. And I just think that's something that women need to hear, you know.
Mhm.
And with that, don't lose yourself when you have that first kid. You know, that was my story. I poured all my heart and soul into being y'all's mom that I forgot who I was, you know, and you sacrifice yourself, like you're saying, Allie. You don't take that job or you don't travel or whatever. But it is so important looking back, I think, to have those times where you can just plug into yourself and keep doing the things that you really love so that when your kids do leave, because that's the goal, you want everybody to fly away, that you need to know what you even like to do anymore, you know?
Oh my God, I was
Mhm.
saying that last night about now I know what it's like to be an empty nester.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But yeah, it took,
Well,
you know, and now I can say y'all left yesterday and no tears were shed. You know, I mean,
that used to not be the case. Like,
it
you've made a lot of growth because mom used to like chase us down the street, just like bawling, crying every time we left. And now you do it with dry eyes, and it's a lot of personal growth.
it's a lot of personal growth because you know what? I don't want to be the thing that's a roadblock to you living your best life. You know, I just lost my way and forgot how to build the things in my life that bring me joy. And, you know, you can do that again. And so I think it's a huge growth moment for me to be able to let you go. It's beautiful now to have adult children and I get to see all the amazing things you're doing. I mean, Allie presented this, you know, thing at this meeting yesterday and I just got in the car and sobbed because I was so proud of just watching her be this girl boss. You know, it's opportunities
Oh,
like that.
I, Mom.
Allie hates the word girl boss. She hates it.
Well, I was just so proud of Allie, just the way that she can communicate and be such a leader. And, you know, it's just, those are the moments I don't want to miss. And I don't want my sadness because I miss y'all to get in the way of seeing just how beautiful of adults you've grown up to be.
Thank you, Mom. I received that compliment. It's very sweet. I I love that quote that you just said about not wanting to be a roadblock for your kids doing what they want to do. And I think that's so true. Like a lot of the times you see these moms that are like, stay close to me or do this or do that. And it's like you're really hurting them, you know, like you're not encouraging them to go spread their wings and it can be
Yeah.
really harmful.
We talked about that kind of at church on Sunday, at Pine Lake. Chip was preaching on like encouraging the dreams of the females in your life, and the whole time he was talking about that, I was thinking about how you and Dad really have. It wasn't always like the first response. Like I remember telling you guys I wanted to move to Hawaii, and at first it was like, absolutely not. But there was just like this thing that clicked with you guys, and you became like our biggest cheerleaders. And I don't think I've ever come to you guys with like a crazy idea, and I have a lot of them that you guys have like immediately shut down or made me feel like silly for thinking. And I love the way that you guys encourage us to go out in the world, even if it's like really far away and we're not in the same time zone and no one can talk to you.
Yeah, there's been a lot of personal growth with that. I remember I wanted to go to South Africa one time and like it was like a month long like
Uh,
knockout conversation.
But I
yeah.
think that's like the problem that because I talk to people all the time about, I want to move away. I'm like the ambassador for like, I want to move far away. And so I talk to people all the time. And the common theme is like, my parents like are guilting me. My parents don't want me to go. My parents, I'm like, okay, like you're not your parents. Like
Hmm.
you have to release, you have to let them go because now coming back is so much more fun for me. Like I get to go out in the world and I come back and I'm so happy to be at home and it's my favorite place ever. And yeah, I think that is something that's like really common.
Well, your goal as a parent, you want to launch your children. You know, I just and that guilt and shame is just such. I just it's terrible things to put on your kids. You know, and I just feel like I would have missed the gift too, watching you do all that, both of you, and win. And then the gifts I've received. You know, I would have never stood under a waterfall in Hawaii and had that moment of gratitude if you wouldn't have moved to Hawaii. You know, I would have never met some of these beautiful friends that each of you have if you wouldn't have, packed your bags and moved somewhere different. And so I just think it's important. It's not, you're not living my life. I'm not living your life. and you got to stay in your own self and let
Mhm.
everybody do them, and so
Yeah.
I
The
definitely
worst are
don't
the
say,
the worst are the parents who live through their kids. Like, I went to high school with so many kids whose moms were quite literally living vicariously through them, and it was like it's really scary. Like, it's a really weird concept.
well, it's
What's
just
like
like,
your
I mean, I feel like, I mean, we all do that as a mom. I mean, when you all got anything, it was like I got it. I was so happy, and it's a fine line. That's why I said earlier, you can't just throw your life down on the ground when you welcome your first child into the world. It's hard to pick back up. You'll definitely forget how to be your own self if you do that. So,
Mhm.
it's hard. I mean, you're so excited for your kids, but you don't want to like live through them for sure. It just
Yeah.
makes it really hard.
Something that I really liked that we talked about on Mother's Day was, like, our favorite things about mom and qualities that we love about her. Allie, I wanna ask you, what is something that you've learned from mom, like, your favorite thing that you've learned from mom, watching her be our mom that you're, like, applying in your life?
ooh,
Now that you're a mother,
now now that I'm a mother. I think mom just like always took really great care of us. Like we never felt, I mean, besides when that one day on the front porch, we never felt
Was sleep
abandoned
deprived.
or we always just like had what we needed and more, and mom like went above and beyond to celebrate everything we did. Whether it was like a birthday or a soccer game, like anything, mom was like number one cheerleader. But I think that this version of mom that we're in now is my favorite. I have learned probably more from mom in the past 2 years than I have maybe my whole life, like honestly.
Mhm.
And it's been such a gift to see just like all of the things that mom has learned and how she's sharing that knowledge with us and like other people in her life. And yeah, I mean, she makes me think about things in a way that maybe I wouldn't have thought about them. And it's a very different relationship than we've had in the past. It's like she opens my mind up to a lot of new things. And maybe in the past, I was the one, opening her mind to things. Like we were joking about, during COVID, I came home and I was outside meditating, and mom just like could not understand why the hell I was sitting outside quiet, not talking to anyone for like 20 minutes. Like it just blew her mind. And it's so funny to look back on that version of mom and, look at the person that she is today. And I really do learn so much from her on a daily basis.
Oh, thank you, Allie.
I would say mine is I touched on this a little bit on Mother's Day, but I feel like through mom, I've learned how to love people, like, so well, and just watching the way that she treats people, and she makes you make people feel so. I don't know why I'm talking about you in third person, like, you're right here. You make everyone feel so seen and important and loved, and, like, everyone who you come in contact with feels that way, and so I feel like through you, I've really learned how to love people correctly and make them feel seen and heard and important and special. And I agree, like, this new, like, era of mom, the last, like, 2.5 years that we've gotten to see, I've learned how to, like, be more authentically myself and how to teach people how to treat me and how to love people authentically and be honest and tell people where I'm at. And I think that it's translated into me having just such authentic, honest relationships in my life through watching, how you've been living your life. And it's been amazing. I think that mom's quote always is leave everything better than you found it. She would tell us that when we were little, leave everything better than you found it. But I think that your greatest gift is that you leave everyone better than you find them. And I think it's so true.
I love that. Thank y'all both for those beautiful words, and it's never too late to start over, It's like, whether you do it at 48 or 28, we all have the opportunity to walk into a different life when we're ready. And yeah, I mean, Allie, about the meditation, I didn't know how I even felt in my body to know that I so desperately needed to meditate, and through yoga and recovery, it taught me all that just to check in, our bodies don't lie to us. And I don't know, it's such a beautiful thing just to hear that. And, when I'm having a hard day, I'm going to remember those words because, It's such a gift. Thank you both for sharing that.
You're
Well,
welcome.
before we let you go, Mom, you have some exciting things coming up, especially this summer. What's going on? Like, what do
Uh,
you have coming up?
and
Mom literally told me when I was home, she goes, all right, well, tell me bye because I don't know when I'm going to see you again. I have travel plans. I was like, oh, okay, goodbye.
so y'all inspire me to take phone calls, to be on a call, to take a trip, to do things. No, I'm looking at my vision board that I created. I told Allie when y'all did your,
At the Go Call Your Sister vision board making class.
and like 3 of those things have already come true on my vision board. And
Which
so
ones?
sunsets for sure. And gratitude. I feel like I've definitely practiced more gratitude, and a girl with a backpack on her back. And July the 8th, I really decided this year I was going to do something that like made me fearful. I spend a lot of some of my days being very uncomfortable, but I really wanted to like mark it down. Like I'm going to do this. And so the way that God works, he just put this in my path. My friends and I are going to Denver to go on, it's a, 6-day hiking and camping trip, and we will be camping out in the woods for 2 days. Sweet Lord help us. I feel very confident because some of these people have camped before. And I just found out this morning Joanna is signing up to go. So that is so
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's
That's such a
exciting.
like amazing
And
squad.
Joanna is Mom's best friend from
And
North Carolina.
and a very, very consistent and loyal Go Call Your Sister listener. And we love you, Miss
Yes.
Joanna.
and praise God. So she's going. So we met last week. I'm overwhelmed with the packing list, what all we're doing. But you know what? We met last week. And at the end of the day, this is a retreat. So if you want to retreat away and not rock climb or do some of these scary things, you can do that. And I think it's going to be beautiful. We're reading the book, Breathing Underwater. There's a therapist that's going with us as well. I mean, I'm just like eyes wide open. Even if I'm afraid, I'm going forth. So yes, I have big plans.
Wow.
That's gonna be amazing. And I was
How are
shocked they
you?
gave you guys like a reading list. Like it was like school. They gave you a reading list and you have like workout requirements. You have to be able to run, what is it,
Yeah.
like a mile?
Yeah. You
How
need,
are you preparing for the rock climbing portion?
I don't know. He said, well, on the list, he says, let me know if you have rock climbing shoes. I'm like, I'm fresh out. So I'm going to need to use some of yours. And yeah, I think we're good though, because you know what, we met last week and he said, you're doing it right now. You're living life. And as long as you can walk 3 miles with a heavy backpack, you'll be good. I did get the key. I've got a entrance into the football stadium. So we're going to run some stairs, work on our elevation. But you know what? It's going to be good.
You could go to the what is it? Not turn. You can go to the rec center and get on their rock wall because they
Oh
have one.
yeah.
I know. Well, I think Bill, that's leading the trip, we probably look like we needed a lot of help. So now we are going to have a packing day in Oxford where we're all going to get together and pack our things because I'm like, it's really overwhelming. All I want is a really snuggly sleeping bag and not to be in a tent by myself so that if I do get scared, that I can cuddle up with a friend.
Honestly, go to REI. I love wandering around REI. There's a
That's
whole
another
bunch of
trip we're
stuff
doing.
that you just like,
Yes.
yeah.
We're
You
gonna
need to
do
have
a
a field
trip.
trip to REI.
Yes. Yes.
Wait,
My
what
friend
is that?
Spidey on it. She's
You don't
like,
know what REI is?
it's like an outdoor
No.
store.
It's that big outdoor store. They might have a rock wall, honestly. But it's like everything that you could possibly need to do anything outside.
So we're in
Oh.
Airbnb. So it's just 2 nights of camping. And I'm going with like, I mean, Bill's a professional camper and great.
Who
Right.
is Bill? Can you give us information on who Bill is? Because I don't think
Bill,
No one knows Bill.
okay, Bill started a nonprofit called Rocks to Rivers, and he is in recovery. And he takes these trips. He takes men and women. And my friend Annie told us about this like 3 months ago, and we just all signed up.
Well, Mom, I'm so proud of you for embarking on this adventure. I think that so many people just kind of sit in their day to day and they never kind of go out on a limb. And I'm really excited to see what comes from this for you.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm
You're
excited.
a brave mom.
You're gonna be like Reese Witherspoon in Wild. You should watch that movie before you go.
Yeah, I've watched that movie and I don't really want to look anything like that or no.
My request is that you guys vlog the trip because I really think it could be some really viral content of like moms camping vlogging.
I'm trying to think which of our friends is the most tech savvy. I don't know.
Mom, you were tech savvy. Minus
You're
getting
tech
on the pod.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, it's going to be fun. And Breathing Underwater, if any, shout out on that book. If you've not read it, it's really good. All of his books are really good. Richard Rohr. And
I feel like you come to the podcast every episode with like a really, really strong book recommendation.
Yeah.
Well, I've already read it, but I got to reread it because we're going to talk about it. But yeah, I have several others too, but
yeah. Maybe you should start a little book club.
Yeah, you should start a book club, Mom.
Well, this is the problem with me. I'll recommend a book to people and they're like, Kristy, I loved it. I finished it. And I'm like, I haven't even finished it yet.
That's so funny.
Another big book right now this has helped me so much recently is called Heaven Rules. And if you are watching the news and you get huge anxiety and fear, Heaven Rules. It's a short book. I haven't finished that one either.
She's liked what she's read so far.
Maybe you start a new kind of book club where you only read half the book. And then maybe you read half and someone else reads the second half so you can come together and talk about it.
I mean, it's so bad that my podcasts are so, like, I had to tell a friend the other day, I'm like, can you listen to this for us and do Cliff Notes for us? And then we discuss it because it's like, I love all these podcasts. I love all these books. And sometimes I just run out of time. You know,
I think Mom's a manifesting generator. That's the energy I'm getting.
Do you know your human design type, Mom?
No.
Wait, let me look it up. I can look it up right now.
But the fasting book, Fast Like a Girl, you know, like 10 of my friends read it and loved it, and I've yet to finish it.
And you told everyone to buy it.
I know. I'm like,
you really are like the influencer, though. Like, I mean, I feel like you just inspire people to read books, buy things, do things. And it's a great quality about you is that you're very contagious.
What year were you born, Mom?
1973.
Oh, right. Duh.
Don't you need to know her time of birth?
Yeah, what time of birth? What time were you born?
This is hilarious. 11:59 p.m.
Oh, you were almost February 21st.
I know. So I almost get to celebrate 2 days.
Well, you celebrate a whole month, so I think that's okay.
Manifesting generator, called it.
Oh, yay, Mom, you're a manifesting generator.
I don't know. What does that mean?
That means that this will give you a lot of freedom. You should start looking into this. So I'm going to make a recommendation for you. I think that you should really dive into human design because it will allow you just to have grace and freedom for yourself like you've never had before. Because as a manifesting generator, I too am one. You have a lot of interests. You like a lot of things. You're always involved in different things. And it can kind of feel like you never complete things, but you're really meant to just do something until you're done with it and then move on. Like you don't have to do it to completion.
That is
you can just do it until it stops lighting you up and then you move on.
Yeah. I mean, I get bored easily. I mean, really more than a meal is the longest lasting project I've been involved in.
Well, and it's just, so basically human design is like your energy type. So that's the type of energy that you have. Like Bird has a different type of energy. And then like there's a couple of different other ones. But yeah, I definitely called you being a manifesting
do I need to get a book for that?
I'll send you some recs.
Maybe just a couple podcasts, like some shorter podcasts.
Yeah.
Well, is that type too, Allie? Do you have a hard time? Like this morning I was thinking about like your to-do list. Like, do you have great guilt when you don't get everything completed?
Oh, I can feel consumed by my to-do list. Like it can be so overwhelming. It can make me feel honestly sick.
That is really my intention today. Like I've got to let it go. You know, like I just need to, because I don't want to ever practice guilt, but I have such guilt with myself sometimes when I don't complete things. And I want to let that go. Like,
Okay, well, maybe we'll do a second episode with Mom in the next couple of weeks, all about all about human design, and you can come back and report to us what you've learned.
Mom's intention closing out this episode is to let it go. Allie, what's your intention?
My intention is to find joy because I'm still really sad about Goldie.
Aww. I hope you find that. I think my intention is to settle in because I have like 4 days in California before I go to Hawaii, and I already thought today about changing my flight to earlier, but I need to like settle in for a couple days. So those are our intentions, and now we can go forth into the world and put them into
I do want to
practice.
say, I know people are dealing with a lot harder pet issues. Like when we got home last night, he runs inside and moves all of her toys like to a section so I wouldn't have to see them.
oh, yeah. I remember when I walked into y'all's room when y'all left for college, oh, wow. Parents out there that are about to take their kids to college, shut their door and don't open it for several days. My best advice there is drop your kid off at college and go somewhere that you've always wanted to go on vacation. Stay there for a week. Just reinvent yourself in that week and then come home and still don't open their door for like several more weeks. Oh my
I
God.
remember one time that I moved, Mom and Dad took a trip to Turks and Caicos, and so they took me to the airport to move. It was when I moved to San Diego.
Yeah, we were
They
right
took me to the
beside each
airport to
other and I went
move,
to see you.
and then they got on the plane to go to Turks. They're like, "Bye, love you, best drop off ever."
That is the best drop off, just like, I
Because
mean,
you don't
now
feel
I think
sad because you're excited because you're going on a trip.
yeah, peace out.
Mom, we love you so much, and we're so glad you came on just to talk about motherhood. We want to thank you and all the mothers in our lives. I feel like we all have a lot of mother figures, and everyone who's a mom, dog mom, human mom, just a mom in life to
Thank
friends.
you
We
for
love you.
acknowledging me. I just want to say thank you
You're
for acknowledging
welcome.
me because some people in my life refuse. Mario.
I see you as a mother, and I appreciate you. And
Guess
we
who
just
did
want to
not get a
say,
Mother's Day gift?
we love you guys, and Mom, we love you. And moms rule. Moms are the shit.
Well,
Sorry.
I love you. It is by far the best, greatest job I'll ever have is being all of your moms. I'm grateful every single day. Thanks for asking me to be on here. I love you so much, both of you.
Thanks, Mom. Love
Love you,
you.
Mom. Bye.
Bye.